Only about 25 to 30% of autoimmune risk is genetic. The rest is very much environmental and lifestyle exposure. So your genes may load the gun, but your environment is what pulls the trigger.
Welcome to Health Decoded, your number one source for real health information, with your hosts, Dr. Alessi and Matt Tack.
Hey, Health Decoded listeners. Dr. Alessi here. Let me ask you a serious question. Are you tired of waiting until something goes wrong to finally see a doctor? At Alessi Functional Health, we take a different approach, the right approach. We believe true healthcare isn't about chasing symptoms. It's about preventing them in the first place. That's why we created the Alessi Total Care Program. This is a functional medicine-based membership that gives you proactive, personalized care year-round. You'll get access to comprehensive blood work and functional testing, custom doctor-grade nutraceuticals, deep discounts on labs, protocols, and follow-ups, as well as 24/7 direct access to your doctor. Not just a 10-minute checkup that ends with another prescription. And here's the best part. As a Health Decoded listener, you'll get your first 3 months completely free when you sign up for an annual membership. That's on top of hundreds in savings already built into the program. This is your chance to take responsibility for your health and join a movement that's redefining what primary care should look like. Head on over to alessifunctionalhealth.com, click on our services tab, and go to Total Care. Learn more about this program and claim your exclusive podcast listener offer. Your health is your greatest asset. Let's protect it proactively. Welcome back to another episode of Health Decoded. I am your host, Dr. Alfred Alessi, and I'm thanking you for joining us today. I'm very excited to talk about what we are discussing today, which is really the autoimmune explosion, we call it in this country, and why your body is attacking itself, why this has been so rampant as of late, and ultimately how to stop the fire that's burning inside. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate our listeners, and we want to just deliver as much valuable knowledge and information as we can to help as many people as possible. This podcast is free. We do not take $1 or anything like that. We just ask that you share if you've been finding value in this show. That being said, let's get started. So why is it that your body is suddenly turning against itself? From things like Hashimoto's to lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disease is exploding. In this episode, we are going to break down what's really happening under the surface, why standard treatments often miss the mark, and how to take back control of your immune system and your life. So before we get into any of that, we need to discuss what is autoimmunity and why is it on the rise. So autoimmunity is not your body betraying you, it's your immune system getting confused. Instead of defending you, it misfires and starts attacking your own tissues, mistaking them for foreign invaders. So basically within the science, it shows that your immune system is supposed to be a smart defense system. It has really two critical jobs. Number one is to defend against invaders like bacteria, viruses, and toxins. And number two, to tolerate your own cells and tissues. This second job, immune tolerance, is where things go wrong in an autoimmune condition. So when your body loses this tolerance, it begins to see normal tissues like your thyroid, your joints, skin, or even your brain as threats. This triggers a chronic inflammatory cascade, leading to tissue damage and a cascade of symptoms that can affect virtually every system in the body. There are over 80 distinct autoimmune diseases that have been identified, including some of the most common that we see: Hashimoto's thyroiditis, multiple sclerosis, lupus, celiac disease, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, and ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Collectively, these conditions affect more than 50 million Americans, and the numbers are rapidly climbing. So why this explosion? Why does this once rare condition now become such a norm, and what has changed? So here's really what's been driving that rise. Things like leaky gut or intestinal permeability, something we discussed in a podcast previously. Your gut is supposed to act like a selective barrier, but when it gets leaky, undigested food particles and bacteria and toxins can slip through into the bloodstream. This then triggers an immune response. And for genetically predisposed individuals, that response can then spiral into autoimmunity. Things like environmental toxins. We're exposed to more toxins than ever before. Mold, heavy metals, things like mercury, pesticides like glyphosate, and industrial chemicals. These compounds can disrupt immune regulation and trigger immune misfiring. Chronic infections, viruses like Epstein-Barr virus, or stealth pathogens like Lyme disease. These can hijack immune function and create long-term immune confusion. In some cases, molecular mimicry occurs, where the body mistakes its own tissues for a virus and begins attacking them. This is actually a built-in mechanism for those viruses to survive. Things like poor diet and chronic stress, ultra-processed foods in the modern Western lifestyle is an autoimmune trigger factory. Refined sugars and seed oils, artificial additives, stress hormones all impair your gut health, increasing inflammation and overloading your immune capacity. Genetics also play a role, but they're only part of the story. Only about 25 to 30% of autoimmune risk is genetic. The rest is very much environmental and lifestyle exposure. So your genes may load the gun, but your environment is what pulls the trigger. Now, I think there is some silver lining to that, basically saying that we can take control of our environment and our lifestyle to fight against these kind of things. There was a study in the Lancet 2021 that basically said the incidence of autoimmune disease has increased significantly over the past 30 years, largely due to environmental and lifestyle changes. So the key takeaway here is that autoimmunity, it's not random. It's not just bad luck, bad genes. Oh, I got this from my parents. It's a breakdown in communication between your immune system, your gut, and your environment. If we can remove the confusion, we can restore balance, and that's where the real healing begins. So now let's talk about what are some early warning signs, what we call the silent storm before the diagnosis. There's a very amazing concept by a doctor named Dr. Stephen Cabral, who I actually studied under, that he patented called the rain barrel effect. Essentially, people used to use rain barrels to collect the rainwater and then use that water to then water their crops, their plants, whatever they used it for. Now, the concept here is that everything that affects your body is like filling up that rain barrel. Exposure to toxins, the rain barrel fills up. Ultra-processed food consumption, the rain barrel fills up. Chronic stress, all these things start to build that up. It's not until that rain barrel overflows or tips over that we call disease state, right? So we're constantly building this progression until one day disease has set in, but that process started a long time ago. So the concept is that these autoimmune diseases, they don't just show up. They brew quietly for years. Most people will experience vague, kind of frustrating symptoms long before they ever get a diagnosis. That's why recognizing early warning signs is critical for prevention and early intervention. Autoimmunity is really a slow burn process. You don't just wake up one day with full-blown lupus, Hashimoto's, or RA. Instead, your immune system begins to misfire little by little, sending you signals that something's off. But those signals often get dismissed or misdiagnosed as stress, aging, anxiety, or air quotes, just normal. But they're really these early warning signs. So some of the common early warning signs, and these are really red flags that may seem random, but together they form a pattern of immune dysfunction. Things like chronic fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, brain fog or difficulty concentrating, joint pain or stiffness, especially in the morning, digestive issues, bloating, IBS, constipation, or sensitivity to gluten, skin flare-ups like eczema, hives, unexplained rashes, mood swings like anxiety or depression, cold hands and feet, hair thinning, brittle nails, dry skin, irregular menstrual cycles or an increased PMS, and then food and supplement sensitivity. Suddenly reacting to things that you used to be able to tolerate is a huge red flag. These are not just annoying symptoms. They're your body waving a flag. Hey, something deeper is going on. So some conditions to know, and then their sneaky presentations, and how do we link these together, right? Now, again, this is just a symptom check, not an actual diagnostic tool, but something to be aware of to then, hey, do I need to take further intervention, run some type of diagnostic lab work, stool test, whatever it may be. So with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, this is the most common autoimmune condition in women. Early signs are going to look like fatigue and anxiety, weight gain that doesn't improve with exercise and diet, hair loss, and constipation, often mistaken for hormone imbalance or just being tired. Get that thrown around all the time. Celiac disease, this is on the rise as well. Gluten basically triggering an immune attack on the small intestine. It may present at first with bloating, brain fog, nutrient deficiencies, or even no gut symptoms at all until it full blown, you start to get these more elevated symptoms. And it is often commonly missed or misdiagnosed as IBS. Psoriasis. This is an autoimmune driven overproduction of skin cells. Basically, the early signs are the dry patches, often on the elbows, knees, or scalp, or pitting of the nails. And this can often flare with stress, illness, or certain foods. And then rheumatoid arthritis. This is going to affect the joints, especially the hands, wrists, and feet, the smaller joints. Early signs are morning stiffness, swollen joints, fatigue, often brushed off as like, oh, I'm just getting older, or this is overuse. So it's very critical that we start to take intervention or take thought of what's going on. There was a study done in the journal Autoimmunity review of 2019. Autoimmune disease typically begins with non-specific symptoms that often go unrecognized for years before a diagnosis. This means that by the time someone gets diagnosed, the immune system has likely been dysregulated for 5 to 10 years. So don't wait until your labs are bad enough to get help. If you are experiencing a constellation of vague but chronic symptoms, it's time to dig deeper. Your body whispers before it screams. So start listening now, and you may be able to help stop autoimmunity before it takes root. Now, I want to discuss the type of testing and root cause detection that we call the don't guess test approach. Now, before we get into that, here's a quick word from one of our sponsors.
This episode of Health Decoded is brought to you by Authentic Nutrition, the brand redefining what it means to fuel your body the right way. At Authentic Nutrition, they believe that what you put into your body matters. That's why every single product is crafted with clean, premium ingredients and dosed with maximum efficacy to ensure you're not just meeting your health goals, you're exceeding them. No fillers, no shortcuts, no gimmicks. Whether it's their advanced supplements for energy, recovery, or gut health, you can trust that what's on the label is exactly what's in the bottle. Authentic Nutrition delivers science-backed formulations that work as hard as you do. If you're tired of products that promise the world but don't deliver, it's time to make the switch to Authentic Nutrition. Elevate your health with transparency, quality, and results you can feel. Check them out today at AuthenticNutrition.com and use promo code Alessi15 to get 15% off. That's THENTIC nutrition.com, promo code ALESSI15 to save 15% and take the first step toward real, lasting health. Authentic Nutrition. Fuel your best self. Now back to the episode.
All right, welcome back. Now let's get into it. Testing and root cause detection. The idea here is we don't guess, we test, because autoimmune disease is not a diagnosis you just stumble into. It's a condition that you can detect much earlier with the right labs. But most conventional tests are limited to diagnosing the disease once it's already advanced. If you truly want to heal, you need to go upstream and you need to look at the root causes, especially in the gut, immune system, and your body's total toxic burden. So let's get into the labs that really matter. Let's break it into two categories: diagnosis and root cause detection. So the conventional medicine approach is going to be these autoimmune panels, which they're useful, They're good for diagnosing, but it's not going to give you the whole picture. One is called an ANA, an anti-nuclear antibody panel. This screens for general autoimmunity, often the first step for lupus or connective tissue disorders. A positive result basically says something's off, but it's non-specific. TPO and thyroglobulin antibodies. This is how we detect Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the most common autoimmune condition. These should be tested alongside TSH and free T3 and T4, not instead of them. And so oftentimes we'll get one or the other when we need the whole picture. The next one is anti-CCP and rheumatoid factor. These are specific markers for rheumatoid arthritis. Elevated levels are basically saying that your immune system is attacking your joints. And then a celiac panel, which is a TTG IgA and a total IgA. This screens for gluten-triggered autoimmune reactions. However, be aware some people will test negative but still have a non-celiac gluten sensitivity driving inflammation. That's where functional medicine comes in. We use some tests that are not even known about in conventional medicine. People don't even understand how to read these tests, but we're able to look more at root cause factors. So this is where the real answers start to emerge, because we can use things like a comprehensive stool analysis to test for parasites, candida, bacterial overgrowth, and leaky gut markers like zonulin, as well as inflammation and more. Because gut dysbiosis is one of the biggest root drivers of autoimmune disease. Go back to episode 16 and listen to that, and it will explain how this process works. Food sensitivity testing, looking at the IgG and the IgA responses. Basically, think of your immune system and those IgG and IgA cell factors as like the policeman. The IgG is more like your general police squad, the cops, right? That they show up and they kind of handle the basic stuff. And the IgA is like the SWAT team. When the IgA is elevated, there is an issue. Something big is going down. And this is going to identify delayed immune responses to common foods. So it's important to note that food sensitivities are often a symptom of leaky gut, but often cannot be the primary cause as well. So that's when we need to explore more things. Mycotoxin and mold exposure testing. Mold can trigger and worsen autoimmunity, especially in genetically susceptible individuals. It's very common in those with the unexplained fatigue, sinus, brain fog type of issues. And then as well as heavy metal testing. So toxic metals are going to impair the immune regulation and promote autoimmunity. This is especially relevant if you've had amalgam fillings or a past chemical exposure or a history of chronic infections. So a study out of the journal Frontiers in Immunology 2020 showed that increased intestinal permeability plays a critical role in the development of autoimmune diseases. This is something that was historically more of a fringe theory. Just 10 years ago, Western medicine didn't even recognize leaky gut. Now this is shown to have been proven as this is a real condition. This is a real thing leading to autoimmune disease. And so what is the mindset shift we need to make here? If your labs are normal and you still feel like garbage, you're not crazy, right? How many times have I seen patients, I could count it, that they come in and they said, the doctors told me I'm crazy. I'm fine. No, you're probably just not looking in the right place. Standard labs look for disease. Functional testing looks for dysfunction. And that's where you'll find the earliest clues. So what's the takeaway here is that autoimmune disease rarely begins in the blood. It begins in the gut, the environment, and the immune system's interpretation of both. So you need to run the right tests and you'll see the real root causes unfold. That is when healing becomes possible. So now how do we take what we just learned? We get a diagnosis or we get an early detection and start to calm the fire and rebuild your immune tolerance before the autoimmune sets in. So I always like to tell my patients, this is not a life sentence, an autoimmune condition. It's a signal that your body is inflamed, overwhelmed, and confused. The key now is to remove the triggers, heal the gut, and rebalance the immune system so your body stops attacking itself. You don't have to suppress your immune system with medication for the rest of your life. You can retrain it to do its job properly again. So we implement what we consider the 5-part anti-autoimmune strategy. We are all about protocols because protocols are a system that has been proven to work. This is similar to what we discussed in a previous episode, episode 16, about our 5 R's for balancing gut health. This is similar to that. So step 1 is you need to remove the triggers. You cannot put out a fire while pouring gasoline on it. So you need to eliminate inflammatory foods for 30 to 90 days, if not forever, right? Gluten, dairy, refined sugars, seed oils, soy, processed junk foods. These realistically just have no place being ingested. You need to get rid of chemical exposures to things like BPA, plastic, glyphosate-laden foods, toxic beauty products, and artificial fragrances. There's an app you can get called Think Dirty, where you can scan the barcode of any product that you put on your body, any beauty products, hair, shampoos, and it will tell you if that thing is loaded with chemicals. You need to treat gut infections like candida, parasites, or SIBO, which can be found through the stool testing. And then cleaning up the environment, getting a water filter in your home, testing your home for mold, reducing the EMF load if you're sensitive to that, turning off the Wi-Fi at night. All of these things are how we remove those triggers. Step 2, now we need to repair the gut barrier. Healing the gut is going to calm the immune confusion. So we use gut healing nutrients like L-glutamine, zinc, collagen, slippery elm, and aloe vera. I'm not going to get deep into this because we just discussed this in episode 16, so you should go back and listen to that. Step 3, we need to rebalance the immune system. Now you calm the overreaction, you start to rebuild tolerance. Vitamin D is a powerful immune modulator. The optimal blood range is somewhere between 50 to 70 nanograms per milliliter, and most people are deficient. It's very common for people to be deficient. Oddly enough, in Florida, we are very deficient in vitamin D because we overuse sunscreens and protection, not allowing ourselves to get sunlight. So omega-3s from wild-caught fish or high-quality fish oil are going to cool inflammation. Probiotics and prebiotics will restore the healthy microbial balance. The microbiome is where our immune system lives. And then fasting, short fasting hours from 12 to 16 hours can reduce the inflammation, promote autophagy, and improve immune signaling. Go listen to episode 17 where we got heavy into the fasting and the protocol associated. Step number 4, lower your stress burden. Stress is basically the gas pedal on autoimmunity. It's going to activate the HPA axis, which is going to increase cortisol dysregulation and thus immune dysfunction. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Track it, protect it. Make sure your sleep and wake times are the same. That's how you restore that circadian rhythm. Practice some type of daily stress reduction, whether it's prayer, meditation, breath work, or nature therapy. Get outside and move. Gentle movement is greater than chronic cardio, right? So going and running and pounding until your body is just beaten is not going to help you. A gentle walk plus some strength training, these things are going to benefit the immune system. And then you can consider some adaptogens, things like ashwagandha, rhodiola, or holy basil as tolerated. These can improve your body's response to stress and that cascade of the negativity that comes with chronic stress. And then step 5, this is the fun part. We get to reintroduce foods cautiously. Once inflammation is down, gut function improves, you can start reintroducing foods that maybe used to create sensitivity one at a time. So every 3 to 5 days, we'll start to build in some of these foods and see how the body responds. And oftentimes the person can heal from a food sensitivity. You need to track how you feel, your energy, digestion, mood, skin. Are there flare-ups? Are there relapses? If a food causes a symptom, you pull it out again, and then you can try again later. It's not about restriction for life. This is about listening to your body and finding your personal blueprint. We're all different biologically, and our biochemistry changes as well. And so we can heal from certain food sensitivities, but some people are just predisposed to certain things based on where they were born, the things they did as a child, the food they were exposed to early on that created certain patterns. So there's an awesome study out of the Journal of Immunologic Research in 2021 that said that restoring the gut barrier integrity and microbial balance can reestablish immune tolerance and reduce autoimmune symptoms. Everything begins in your gut. So the final takeaway here, autoimmunity is not random. It's not, oh, I just got this thing, I guess I'm stuck with this. It's a survival mechanism that's gone haywire due to our toxic inflammatory world. Your job is to give your immune system the clarity and support it needs to stop firing at shadows. And that starts with the gut. That starts with the environment, and that starts with your daily habits, not a lifetime of suppressive medication. So if autoimmune disease is the fire, it always starts with a spark. Your job isn't just to treat the flames, it's to find and remove what's feeding them. If you found this episode helpful, please share this with someone that you know that maybe is dealing with some of these symptoms, or yourself. And remember, healing is possible when you stop fighting your body and you start listening to it. If you would like to learn more about how we help people to diagnose, reverse, and heal autoimmune conditions within our functional medicine programs, go to alessifunctionalhealth.com. Schedule a consultation with myself or one of my providers, and let's create a personalized plan for lifelong health. Listeners of this podcast are always going to get exclusive discounts and price reductions on all of our protocols and lab tests. As always, if you found value in today's show, please hit that like button, subscribe to the show, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. That is the only way we grow this message and can change more lives. If you want to get in touch with us or be featured on an episode, email us your questions to ask@alessifxhealth.com. We love to highlight our patients and our success stories. Then always visit alessifxhealth.com, sign up for our newsletter. That's where you're going to be in the know about everything going on. And you can check out our resources page to learn more about our approach to nutrition and cutting-edge therapies. As always, thank you for tuning in to Health Decoded, where we're here to break down the science, bust the myths, and help you take control of your health naturally. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and remember, your health is in your hands.
Thank you for tuning in to Health Decoded, where we break down the truth about all things health and empower you to take charge of your well-being. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. For more resources and personalized support, visit us at alessifunctionalhealth.com and sign up for our newsletter. To hear your questions answered live on the show, send them to ask@alessifxhealth.com. That's ask@alessifxhealth.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and remember, your health is in your hands.